Hi, this is Laura with YourMusicSupply.com. Today I want to talk a little bit about the care and handling of a violin. Violins can be quite expensive, and you want to treat them in a way that will make them remain in their new condition as long as possible. Let's talk about the bow first. The bow can be loosened and tightened. I always say tighten the bow when you're ready to play and loosen the bow when you put it away. So now I've tightened the bow and the hairs are tight along the bottom and the stick has tension. So when I put the bow back away in the case to store it, I want to loosen that tension to keep the bow from warping. And I loosen it so that I can see that the hairs are just slightly loose, but that's enough. When you play your violin, you want to rosin the bow so that the hairs can grab onto the strings. So I'm going to tighten it up and put rosin, which comes with most of our instruments. You just rub the rosin along the hairs all the way up. I press a little bit so you can hear ch-ch-ch-ch-ch-ch. And you'll see a thin white powder when you've put enough rosin on. We don't ever want to touch the hairs except with the rosin because we have oils and greases in our fingers and it'll get the hairs dirty and then the bow won't play. Let's talk about the violin a little bit. Since we've put rosin on the bow, when you play you'll get a thin layer of white powder on your instrument, and we want to wipe that off every time we're finished when we put the violin away. The rosin can eat into the varnish, and so we want to just clean it up a little bit each time we put it away. A violin has pegs for tuning and fine tuners for tuning. I would stick with the fine tuners if you're not familiar with how to tune a violin, because it's very easy to break strings if you're turning the pegs. We mostly use the pegs if the violin's very out of tune or if we're replacing the strings. When we put the violin back in the case, it's a hard case so it will be protected. So every time you finish playing, put it away so that it's safe, or hang it nicely on a wall so it's out of danger. But I'm going to put the violin away right now. There's this little Velcro, I call it a seat belt, holds the violin in place so that if something happened with the latch, the violin is still secure. Cover the instrument with the blanket that's provided. This keeps it from getting scratched if anything becomes loose inside the case. We're going to loosen the bow when we put it away. Slide the tip into here and turn the latch so that the bow is secured and it won't fall down on top of the instrument when you close the lid. Always secure the latch and zip both sides so that the violin is nice and safe. Never leave the violin in a hot car. The heat will loosen the glue